Welcome back to the big board. We're having a look at high watermark Battle of the Bulge from the Last Gamble. It's a 5-turn scenario, but as you can see, let's see if I can get this out of the cradle. There's a lot going on, and I'm a meeple guy. I love little meeples. You know, me and meeples, we're tight. So I got some meeples on the map so that we can feel more inclusive, really more inclusive. But they serve a purpose also. What you're looking at here is Bastogne, or Bastogne, depending on where you're from. I thought what we might do is look at the victory conditions for the scenario first to assess what the deal is. And basically, the lowest level of success for a German victory, and therefore the prevention of a German victory being an Allied victory, is if the Germans can capture Bastogne, this little town here, Marche or Marche, I'm just jacking with you guys. Stavelot is here. I can't read that one because of the glare. It starts with an E. Let me cheat. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to have a look at the victory conditions chart or table. It is, he said, quickly looking. Yes. Stavelot, Marche, Bastogne, and oh, okay. So I guess that guy's none in it. And then at least one German combat unit is within 6 hexes of the Meuse River. Or this other little river that's on the corner of the map here. But here's a 6 hex range, roughly speaking, right? Meuse River there. Oh wait, it's not the Meuse, is it? It's I'm saying it wrong. Doggone it. I forget what it is now. Now you're all going to be angry. You're going to switch off. Whatever. So there's obviously levels. That would be a marginal victory if we get to this frickin' river here, and we'll get a unit within 6 hexes of that zone. Capture these 3 towns. I could have sworn there was a 4th town. Why is that marker there? Someone explain it to me. Stavelot, Marche, Bastogne, and at least one. Blah 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 blah. It must be for another condition. Eupen, there it is. Tactical victory. So for a tactical victory, yes, I see. Tactical victory, we've got to have a unit in Namur, one up in Liege, probably pronouncing that wrong too, Eupen or whatever it's called up there, and then units across the map, and I believe that's 6 units over the map, 6 motorized units over the map. And if you want a decisive victory for the Germans, yeah, you know, game ends if you can get 18 motorized units off the map. Good freaking luck. One of the challenges I find when we're playing these sort of absolutely known outcome scenarios, where it's incredibly difficult for, I'm trying to find a nice spot here so we can have a look at the guys and not have too much glare because I had to move the table. Let me scoot around. Whoa, wonky. All right, that's a little bit better. I mean, I just have half the map in glare. So one of the challenges, it's like any game on the Eastern Front, right? Typically, if it's 1941 scenario, the Germans are running amok, doing their thing and having a final time, and the Russians are trading space for time, and it's kind of that classic mode. And if it's a 42, late 42, 43, Soviets have so many guys on the board, and it's a whitewash as well. So now there are exceptions, and there are battles in amongst all those things where one side or the other did well. Here we have the Bulge, and you know, it's this last gasp, right? This last gamble of Hitler's, and poorly executed, poorly planned, you know, unrealistic, and all the rest of it. And when you start setting up, like I set up the Germans first, so I could look at the map and look at the terrain, because it gets very crowded here very quickly. Look at the terrain, look at likely routes of advance, and see what we could potentially do as the Germans to see how far we thought realistically we could get. And then put the, the brave Americans down, the noble heroes, put them down, and then you start to see your ideas, plans, thoughts, schemes just melt away, just like snow in a summer sun, right? In Arizona, blazing heat, Texas heat, just gone, right? So there's some defense in depth here along key routes. There's some weak areas for sure, but lots of opportunities also for the Americans to counterattack, which I'm super excited about. I think both sides here are going to get a decent opportunity to counterattack. There's not a lot of heavy hitting units coming onto the map. There are, he forgets now. I think there are some units coming down in the western side of the map, southern side of the map, southern side. And then there are more Americans coming in somewhere around here. Oh, and that's right, and all the way over the other side of the map too. But I think they're really going to come to play pretty late, so I don't think they'll have much impact. I went back over the rules as well, and there's a lot of subtlety, I'll say, in this game's movement rules, and in particular in the combat rules, as it pertains to combat reserves and how you can use those reserves depending on the combat result you get when you initially attack. So if you have units that go into an attack and they get an engage result, and you happen to have, I think it's combat reserve or combat exploit reserve or something like that. I forget the name of the counter. Here it is, exploitation reserve, just off the map, off the screen. You can't see it really. When you have those, if you get an engage result, you can move that unit, assuming it's within range, to engage in combat, and you can re-roll the dice with that new unit in the fight. Pretty interesting. Now, if you were successful with that and you happen to have another unit or other units that were in this combat reserve mode, and I may be mislabeling the information counters, but let's not get spun up around the axle on it. Okay, all of this is under Rule 9.2, 9. No, that's not it. That's improved positions, which are also important. Rule 8.1, 8.2, 8.3 in the exploitation phase. If you had a movement and then combat and then used one of your reserve units, and that maybe opened up a way for you as either the Germans or the Americans, then you in your exploit phase, you can release your reserves and they can move through and they could potentially attack the same unit again, assuming it wasn't dead, or they could, carry on down the road and go do their thing. So there's some subtlety here that I'm surprised, and I don't know whether this is exactly the same as the old system. I know it's been revamped heavily, and all the issues that were prevalent with it have been fixed. But it's an interesting combat system that I'd be curious to see applied on other fronts, other battles, and see how it works, particularly given the level of detail that's gone into the terrain analysis here. And maybe that's just something that you're only going to get with from guys like Danny and Bruno, who care about it as much, and they're deep on one particular battle for any given reason. I'm just thinking about like Corson Pocket. Like if that had have had the level of analysis on the terrain and the combat systems and the movement and all the rest of it, I wonder what that game would have been like and how that game might have played out more, well, I won't say more historically, but more interestingly than it's sort of heavily slanted that, one side's going to dominate and it's over when it's over when I say type of thing. And kind of a glib approach to the rules as well, quite a glib approach to the rules, in fact. But anyway, I'm curious about how this system might transpose itself into other battles, fronts. Would Herkin Forest be interesting? Would some portion of the Normandy landings or battles thereafter be fascinating to us? Would Market Garden be interesting? Crossing the Arkham, would that be interesting? I'm just curious as to how that might play out with this system. So if you're any designers out there that want to talk to Danny. You should. I think there's some really, really good stuff here. Now, I have not played out the scenario. I've only played a handful of turns with I think the Battle Before the Muse or whatever it's called. And there I said it wrong again. Dang it. But nevertheless, I'm sure it's like Musée or something like that. Anyway, I would be curious to see folks try and tackle this system and put it through its paces in another battle. All right, that was kind of a long ramble thing. I was just trying to show you guys the victory locations and conditions where you need, things that need to be done by the Germans to achieve a successful campaign in this almost foregone conclusion battle here, particularly given fuel supplies and everything else that goes on. We can see some unsupplied units here already. These guys are actually isolated. And of course the Bastogne is out of supply as well. But we got C-47s inbound, I am sure. All right, catch you guys all later. Ciao.